All right, moving on. Dyson spheres, something I have not talked about on this podcast, something that I first heard about when I was in college. And we were talking about the Drake equation, which is an equation where you can plug in numbers to see about how many intelligent civilizations there are. Um, and I've definitely talked about that on this podcast. Um, but yeah, so Dyson spheres are a basically major way to get a lot of energy from a star. So, and this article will explain it. So far, no one has found evidence of intelligent aliens elsewhere in the cosmos, but if they do exist, they might be hanging out on Dyson spheres circling husk of sunlight stars called white dwarfs scattered throughout the Milky Way, a new paper argue. Based on what that search turns up, astronomers could estimate how many advanced civilizations lurk in the galaxy. Any advanced civilization needs energy for food, transport, conflict, comfort, convenience. Currently, Earth's 7.8 billion use around 580 million joules of energy every year, equivalent to the energy output of almost 14,000 million tons of oils. Indeed, almost all human energy comes from fossil fuels as we lack the technological savvy to rely on the largest generator of energy in the solar system, the sun. If humans covered every square inch of Earth's surface with solar panels, that would generate more than 10 to the 17th power joules of energy per second. That would still be losing the majority of energy radiated by the sun, about 10 to the 26th power joules per second. This is the motivation behind Dyson spheres, named for the famed physicist Freeman Dyson, who developed the idea in 1960. If an advanced civilization really wants to harness the awesome energetic outputs of their home star, they have to build megastructures to capture it, blocking out at least some of the star's light and converting that energy into other useful things. Dyson's original proposal of a solid sphere doesn't work because of stability issues, as it would be impossible to keep the star at the center, and the entire sphere would disintegrate due to extreme tidal and rotational stresses. Even so, it's easy to imagine an advanced species building rings or swarms of giant solar panels covered structures to get the job done. Let's keep going, keep going, going. If Dyson spheres do exist, they would likely be hard to find because there are so many stars that must be searched. The signal from the Dyson sphere will likely be very faint compared to the star about which it orbits. Just what is that signal? The presence of a Dyson sphere around a white dwarf will have two effects. If it's large enough or close enough to the star, it will block the light arriving to Earth just as transiting exoplanets do. But such Dyson spheres might also add a signal from infrared radiation. The megastructures will absorb radiation from the white dwarf and convert that energy into other things. Since no conversion is 100% efficient, this process will leave behind some waste heat that will escape as infrared light. Surprisingly, we have already found many white dwarfs with excessive infrared emissions, but that is due to dust in those systems, not megastructures. According to the research paper, existing surveys of white dwarfs have found no evidence of Dyson spheres. Given the total number of white dwarfs that we expect to inhabit the Milky Way, Zuckerman estimates that no more than 3% of habitable planets around sun-like stars give rise to a civilization that chooses to build a Dyson sphere around the resulting white dwarf. However, there are so many planets around sun-like stars that this calculation only provides an upper limit of 9 million potential white dwarf sphere-building civilizations in the Milky Way. What? That's a lot. That's a lot. Some astronomers, including me, think that technological life may be a very rare occurrence. obviously. Indeed, we might even possess the most advanced technology in our Milky Way galaxy, but no one knows, so it is worth searching for evidence. The chances that this is an actual thing, this is not something that I don't think our civilization will do in my lifetime or your lifetime, unless you're listening to this at a later date, which I appreciate. If your name is Jonathan and you're listening to this in 20, 30, 56, I appreciate it. But in the meantime, maybe in 2300, they have Dyson spheres surrounding our sun. But as of right now, we do not. And also, if there was a Dyson sphere around our sun, who gets access to that power? Let's say NASA throws a thing up there, and China throws a thing up there, and they have multiple Dyson spheres around the sun. Wouldn't it make sense? It makes sense both ways, but it would also make sense that whoever put the probe out there put their butt on the line to send something up, that they have the right to that particular Dyson sphere. However, since we're talking about the sun and the sheer amount of impossibly large amount of energy that is being released, I feel as though it would only take one or two small Dyson sphere. I'm not talking about, as you can see in this picture right here, looks like the whole sun is mostly covered. About 80% of it is covered. I don't think we would need that. I would think we would need a fairly large sized solar panel array close to the sun, but we wouldn't need to completely cover the sun. That would not be something that we would have to do. And I'd imagine we could also put it in orbit so that it would never block off the sun's light or the sun's heat from reaching Earth, so that it wouldn't affect us here on Earth. Because if you have something that's blocking not only the light from the sun, that's also going to block the heat. And we do not want that. But I do not think we're anywhere close to being able to build Dyson spheres to go around the sun. But if there is alien civilizations out there that are far more, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 years ahead of us, why wouldn't they use this? Unless they have discovered a different fuel source.